When it was 2008, 2009, when the world went into a recession, right, what did they do? Instead of privatizing, they nationalized car companies, they nationalized banks, they were focusing on employment generation, they reduced interest rates to zero. The exact opposite was what they did. And then someone will come with a PhD in economics and tell us to go down these routes that are being recommended to us.
Let's then look at examples and possible solutions.
Yes.
The CBN placed the restricted access to Forex for 41 items. There's some who are crying out about that, saying, look, that's not the way to go. Having done that, they say, look, this is what we think can help. But as we speak, it's still spiraling. The dollar exchange rate is still going up. What do you think we should be doing as we speak?
Well, I mean, there's a bit of policy flip-flop, because at the same time as the CBN, restricted Forex to 41 items, it could have ended there. But then they also said, okay, guys, you can't even pay money into your DOM account, And then later on they said, okay, now you can pay money into your DOM account. And what I heard from the banks is that, look, people aren't even coming because people are afraid that if they pay that $500 in there, to get the money out is a problem. I mean, it's a lot of rigmarole. And why? You see, 50% of the value of a currency is based on perception, on expectations, on what people think will happen in the future. If people believe that the Naira is going to go down, then they will take that position and move into dollar, which is still what's going on now. Let me tell you that what they call, even in theoretical economics, in international finance, there's what they call the 3 generations of currency crisis. The Naira is going through a currency crisis now, clearly. The 3 generations, the first generation says, basically in my own words, thou shalt not fix your currency value. For those countries that have fixed their currency values in the past and say, oh, we are going to defend the currency. People will move against. You are going to defend the currency, okay, fine. This guy says he's going to defend the currency at 100 Naira to $1, fine. The next thing guys are thinking about in financial markets, how much is his reserves? Oh, the guy has $40 billion in reserves. How long can it take us to liquidate that reserves? So if we move against this currency, this guy will liquidate that reserves and continue to defend the currency. And after a while, when it goes from 40 billion to 20 billion, the guy panics.
So what should we have done?
Wait, so that's the first level. Thou shalt not fix your currency. If you are fixing it, don't go to the world and say this is what we're going to do. We're going to defend it with our blood. No, nobody defends their currency with their blood. Number one. The second one is what they call the self-fulfilling prophecy. The self-fulfilling prophecy says that if a people believe that the currency is going to go down, the currency will go down. If people are saying that, oh, this currency will go, and that is what is happening with Nigeria. That is what a lot of our bankers did. That is what a lot of these guys that were saying that we should devalue this currency, that is what they did. They are the ones that moved against the currency. By saying that this currency should be devalued, saying it locally, saying it abroad, you have caused a self-fulfilling prophecy. We all went to school together. We knew this, and they knew what they were doing to this economy. The third generation is what happened with the Asian crisis. When a government decides that whatever the banking industry borrows, they're going to defend it. If the banking industry borrows from foreign banks, that the government has the reserves to back them up. If they don't pay, we will pay. That was what happened with the Asian crisis. And of course, by the time the banks went on what they call a moral hazard, they went borrowing because the government is always there. And so by the time they pulled the plug on them, the government had to liquidate all its reserves in order to pay foreign banks.
Come back to people like yourself.
So basically, that is it. Even if you wanted to go in the books, it is there that we deliberately are killing this Naira today.
Let me come back to people like you, economists, experts.
I'm not even an expert. Neither am I.
Who understand it. Everyone comes with an idea, with a solution, because Timberlake went on by asking what the solutions are for us, because we already know that we're in a deep mess. And you talked about some people who also prophesy and say, well, we're likely to see the Naira fall further, and so many other comments that come. How does all of this, which you've just highlighted, for instance, you have a contrary view from those who also come to say this is how it should be and this is how it's going to be. Your own viewpoint, how does it work for a country that has tried a whole lot of ideas, solutions from experts and even economists? We have a cabinet in place and we have experts who work with these people. and everyone is working around the clock to see that we get out of this mess. Where are we headed if we have people who are supposed to drive the process and who are supposed to be like yourself, and still we're where we are at the moment?
Well, what I decided to do on my own was to, realize at some point that, look, whatever it was I thought, I documented my thoughts, put it in books, put it on, in columns and all that, and just moved on. Because what I've seen over time, so-called experts come in, deliberately pushing their country down the wrong route, and then at the end of the day, coming back to apologize if they would bother. Or they would say, oh, SAP was not, implemented the way we thought it would be. At the end of the day, now, if you don't have a Harvard degree or an MIT degree, whatever it was called, then you're probably a nobody, And if you hadn't worked with any of the big, UN agencies, nobody takes you serious. One of the issues we had with the present administration was, that debate that could have been driven by the government was not actually driven. So a lot of things happened with the private sector. Guys came and talked, but private sector being what it is, people are coming with their different agendas, people are taking positions. I think it was obvious that some people had money in dollars, which they needed to move in to Naira, and they weren't going to move in that money until it was devalued. I heard people, even a certain person from, was it JP Morgan, before we were removed from their index, saying, was it JP or one of the other investment banking firms, he said, we are not going to Nigeria until they devalue their currency and increase their interest rate. I'm like, this is wonderful. Someone says he's not coming to your party until he's sure you're serving champagne and caviar. He's insisting that he's not coming to your party until these and these and these are on the menu. For crying out loud. They're asking us to lay the bed for them and put on the AC and sweep the room and make it before they even come and check us out. It doesn't happen anywhere. It's condescending. It's condescending. Increase interest rate when the rest of the world is trying to reduce that. Increase interest rate, increase, and devalue your currency. That's a double whammy for the people. And that actually, of course, certainly sparks inflation, sparks chaos. It's going to kill local industries if you increase interest rate levels.
Just a moment, though. When you spoke about the three laws of, the three don'ts of,
that's the 3 generations of currency crisis.
3 generations of currency crisis. Thank you very much. Now, the very first one you said is don't fix your currency, as it were, the price of your currency. But that also goes against the argument for not devaluing the currency. Don't you think so?
Well, what it says is, if you fix your currency, you're done. If you say you're going to defend the currency with your reserves, people move against you, they're going to short your currency.
So what's the option? What's the alternative?
So what you want to do is, for example, the central bank, if you ask me, they should say less about the currency. They shouldn't. This is something that's gone on for quite a while now. I don't know who, but the point is that the central bank governors should actually say less about, we're going to defend the currency. We have the money. Look at it now. I can remember Soludo saying that. I can remember Sanusi saying that. I can remember almost every central bank governor saying, we will defend the currency. But what you're saying then is you're staking your reserves. You're staking your reserves on it. And how much of that reserves do you have? But the point is that, you see, a lot more should be, let them go to that Greenspanian era, where Greenspan says very little. And you're trying to second guess, what does it mean? What does this body language say? That kind of stuff. That's it. So the first thing is that is very clear in the market. Never you say you're going to defend the currency. And secondly, mind what you say about the currency. And even there's a need for you to say, if people are actually saying things like devalue, we expect the Naira to be devalued. You have to, as a central bank, on the ground, you have to move in your own apparatus to diffuse it without them knowing that it's you that's doing it.
Let's wind down with this. While you spoke about the taste for foreign things, we need to look inwards. If you don't go for many of those, what are the options back here?
Looking inwards. You see, the problem I have with the looking inward theory is a lot of people say like it was very easy to do. See, when you're going to embark on a journey, I said you have to know where are we going to, how do we get there. So it's easy to say Nigerians are not producing, they have to go and produce. It takes you 4 or 5 years in order to get there, if you were serious.
So it's back to government policies to ensure.
Government policies
the
are
local
very, very
industries
critical
thrive.
to this. Certainly, they are very critical to
Do
this.
you see those policies materializing? Have you seen anyone?
We're still waiting for the new regime, but what we've heard so far is, things like solid minerals and so on. I'll surprise you to let you know that where we should be going now, from my own deep thoughts, and because I've written over it, and they say writing makes an exact man. That the way for us to do is, number one, let's look at our human resource. Number one, the biggest resource you want, that the most important resource in the world is time. They said you can create resources, you can create money, you can create time. You can make money, you can make more time. So we've lost quite a bit of time, 8 to 9 months at the beginning of this administration. Not too good. Secondly, your human resources. 170 million Nigerians, the youth, deploy them. I say the third most important resource is our environment. If you link, and I'm not an environmentalist, I'm just an economist, but the point is this: we have neglected our youth, we have neglected our environment. Bring the two together and see magic. If, for example, we say every inch of Nigeria, we want to begin to make it look like those places we visit in London and in Dubai, you realize that Nigeria will turn into a huge construction site all of a sudden. Every square inch of this country, there's work to be done. Why have we not given the work to our youth? Because what we have that many of these other developed countries don't have in the rest of the world is that youthful energy. That youth bulge can also be a threat if you don't use it.
All right, then Togbe Fashaw is an economist and also a banker. Thank you for your thoughts today.
Thank you very much.
It's time for the headlines again with Anne Nwaodo.